Welcome. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you here with us today. We're going to share a little bit about the National Head Start Association's Health Services Certification. My name is Rachel Hutchison, and I work at NHSA as a senior associate on the Academy team. I work primarily in instructional design and also in course management, and I have the pleasure of working with our host today, Jackie Rivera, on our health services courses. So we get a lot of questions about this certification. So we thought, what better way to answer those questions than to just come together in a room and have the experts take a crack at them. So I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. We're going to just, without further ado, go straight into it. So, Jackie, I'm going to set up for you some of the big questions that we hear all the time about this certification, and then we'll just clear the air. So the questions we hear most often: who would benefit from this certification? How long does it take? How does this benefit the program? I mean, it's pretty clear when you take a course that's good for your own professional development. How does this benefit a program? What kind of activities are they going to do as part of the certification? How much time do they need to, plan to have for this? And then is there support that's offered for them? And then finally, what kind of advice would you offer to people thinking about this certification? Big, big questions. So let's see how many of them we can tackle today.
I think we can tackle those. Okay, great. Let's start with the first one. So who would benefit from taking the health certification? That's a great question. And I think a lot of people will be surprised at the answer because I'm not just going to say the health administrators. By the name of the certification, you might get the impression that it's only for your health administrators, that they would only ones qualify for this, but that's just far from true. The certification has so many components to it, such as physical health, oral health, mental health, nutrition, disabilities, ethics, case management, professional development. Health is a huge portion of the performance standards and is very important for our federal reviews. So the staff that I would suggest, not just your health admin person, your directors, because your directors are usually supervising your health people. I would recommend, obviously, everybody on your health team, your nutrition administrator, your disabilities administrator, your mental health administrator, your education administrator. We know that health ties into everything, that a child needs to be healthy to be able to learn. Family services, and a lot of people say, why family services? So many programs, and I see this in certifications all the time. The family workers are doing the health screenings and then also doing the follow-up and giving referrals if perhaps a child needs extra attention on perhaps a failed screening. So the family services are doing a huge amount of health. And they also help parents advocate for their children's health. They aid in IEPs. So basically, all those people and anybody who supervises those people could benefit from the health certification. I wish this had been in my radar when I started. I started about 13 years ago. And I remember my first day, I came in and they put me at the desk and told me, okay, here you go. And I said, okay, what do you want me to do? And they said, well, you could organize your desk. And I didn't know what I was doing because there hadn't been a health person for a long time. I would have loved to have this as an opportunity. We suggest that people be in the position for their current position for at least 6 months. And we do that just so that you're familiar with a lot of the policies, procedures, acronyms, that sort of thing. We do have a different, it's not a certification, it's a course. It's called Health Essentials. And this is perfect for new staff. I wish it had been around when I started, because all of a sudden I started and everybody's like, oh, we've got the PC meeting tonight, and don't forget we have HASAC here, and we've got an IEP meeting, and they were doing all these acronyms and I had no idea what was going on. But Health Essentials takes about I would say, depending how fast you are, between 6 and 8 hours to complete. So it's much less of a commitment than your health certification, but it's great for your people that are um, just starting to get them. What is an information memorandum? What is a performance standard? Why do I have to get this done in 45 days? So for the health certification, I suggest you be in your position 6 months or longer. But for any of your new staff, Health Essentials is a great way to get started. So your other question was, how long does the certification take? You get 4 months to take the certification. So if you start, in January, you have until the end of April. There's 12 competencies in the certification. So what we suggest is that they get broken down and you just do 3 a month minimum. For sure, work forward if you can. Many people do work forward, but the minimum should be about 3 a month. And the reason we say that is because when you kind of procrastinate it and you do it all at the end, it's a little stressful on you. And I've noticed scores go down and pass rates go down a little bit when people wait until the last minute. I had said about 3 a month. The first month and the fourth month are the quickest. The second month is the one that needs the most commitment. And scheduling is key, that you stay on a schedule, because it just never fails. If you procrastinate a little bit, that's when somebody quits or you end up having to fill in in the classroom. Life happens. So it is a 4 month commitment. And then you asked how the certification benefits the program of the applicant. Quality programs need a great understanding of the performance standards. They tell us why we do what we do and how to do it. In the times we're in right now, I really believe the more educated our staff are, the better we are. We want to cross every T we can in Head Start right now, because we're often judged by the programs performing the poorest, not the best. And we just really can't afford that in Head Start. And I think the more right now, and I really think the more we educate our staff and give them professional development opportunities, the stronger we're making our own programs and the stronger we're making Head Start in general. But the benefits for your program is, all these activities are based on the performance standards and information memorandums and review questions. So after someone takes the certification, they really have a great 360 picture of health in Head Start, not just physical health, but that whole picture of mental health and oral health and disabilities and nutrition. And I've had many participants say, I'm so glad I did this right before the review. I knew exactly what I was doing when that review happened. I knew exactly how to answer those questions. And also, I would say the majority of the students I have, as they're doing this, they're making a little list on the side and they have things they want to go back and tweak. Or all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that was in the performance standard. I need to work on that. We're missing that. Or so at the end, they kind of have a to-do list. And when they do that, they feel like their program is 100% because they've gone through it step by step on the performance standards and know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So definitely benefits for when it's review time. And then the other question was the activities that we do. So there's, it sounds intimidating, but there's 104 activities divided into the 12 competencies. And let me give you a example, demonstrating the history of Head Start and its mission and philosophy, implementing safety practices and procedures that reduce risk, implementing health and development services programs. So all different topics that apply to health in a direct way and a roundabout way. Another was ensuring implementation of mental health services in partnership with other staff and parents. So the 104 is you get an activity and then you're asked to write a short narrative giving your story. A lot of it is your own story because the health certification belongs to you. It goes with you. So you're not certifying your program, you're certifying yourself. Sometimes it'll ask you to attach something. Sometimes it'll ask you to give information on how your program does something, or tell me a time when you've struggled with this and how you overcame that. And then sometimes it's just subjective questions of yourself. What do you see yourself doing professionally in health in the future? So it's got a lot of different activities. It's not all the same. And then your other question was, what was the support offered to the applicant? We give you so much support. You can't even start until you do an orientation. And when we do that orientation, I give you all the tips and tricks you need to be successful. I almost promise if you follow them, you will do well. I give strategies, and then we have office hours twice a month where everybody who is currently working is invited to come on, ask questions, talk about what they're doing. And not only is that great for the certification, but it's a wonderful time to come together with your fellow peers from all around the country. With Alec, who's online with us, he's from Alaska. I remember doing his orientation. I think he had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's a great time to learn from others. A lot of times in health, we feel a little segregated. There's 100 teachers, but there's like 5 of us in health. So it's nice to be online with other health staff and be able to share ideas and things like that. Another great thing is you could, like I said, Sherry, you could ask questions of your peers and just be like, this is how we do it. How are you doing it? Because why reinvent the wheel? Learn from the other experts. You're also able to get a hold of myself for content questions anytime through Canvas. I check my email like 3 times a day because I know when you're working on something, you want an answer right away. And it can be a simple question like, hey, could you just explain this sentence a little bit? Or, hey, this is kind of what I'm working on. What do you think? I'm here to support you in any way I can, even if you just need a little pep talk. And then your last question, I think, was what advice would I offer someone getting ready to do the health certification? First one would be just do it, just to commit and get started. Sometimes the hardest thing of something is just actually getting started. So go ahead and do that. And as soon as you get registered, start thinking about your schedule. Look on your work calendar and block off certain times and say, put a sign on your door, busy, please don't disturb. Um, Come to office hours. Often at office hours, I will go through different sections and we'll talk about, let's read this one. Okay, what do you think I'm looking for in that? And people make notes throughout that. Other advice would be to reach out and use the expertise of your team. We encourage you, if something is not in your toolbox, say you do health and nutrition, and the question is on disabilities, we encourage you to reach out to your coworkers. So your narrative would be, this is not directly under my responsibility, but I spoke to our disabilities person and this is what we do, which is great. And that's what gives you that big 360 at the end. And if you are a bigger agency, I suggest you all register at the same time and utilize each other and do work groups and support each other. All the work does have to be, your own in your own words. You can't like split it up, but it's great. I've had groups of 10 and they work together, certain times of the week. And, where did you find this or that? And they share information. So if you can do that, that's awesome too. And then my last advice would be make that list of things you want to check and improve when you are done with your certification so that you can put yourself and your program in the best position you can and set yourself and your program up for success. So Rachel, I think I answered everything that you asked.
You sure did, Jackie. And I hope this demonstrates just how incredibly passionate and supportive Jackie is of all of the candidates who go through this certification. We want you to be successful. And we're always looking for feedback too. So we invited one of our previous candidates, successful candidate, to join us today and talk about the experience from the other side. What is it like to take this certification? So, Jackie, would you like to introduce us to Alec?
Okay, so this is Alec Hunter. He was one of the students, learners that took his certification a couple months ago. Was I right, Alec? Did I wake you up at like 4 in the morning one day to do orientation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That time change is a killer. But thank you so much for being here. I asked Alec to come and just share his experience with the certification. Alec, you did a great job on yours, really. If
I
I
appreciate
retire, it's all yours.
it. I'm good.
So, but Alec, I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions that some people might be wondering about. But first of all, tell us about yourself and a little bit of your history in Head Start.
All right. So I'm an educator. I was based out of Los Angeles for the last 25 years. I was teaching kindergarten through eighth grade out there. Then I have my daughter as a single parent, and I was like, I should get closer to family. So unfortunately, family decided to retire in Alaska. So here I am. So I ended up in a Head Start as a lead out in one of the villages. And part of the benefit of that was I got to be an educator for my daughter. So it gave me a little extra time with her. So it was a bonus. But then an opportunity presented itself in town to work at the central office as a health and safety coordinator. So I took a chance, a leap, and it gave me an opportunity to move into town with my daughter to help with services for her as well. So it was kind of a benefit. So been an educator for a very long time, but now as a health and safety coordinator, I was a little blind to what really entails with that, and then the onboarding process unfortunately was a little bit lacking. Part of it was because the health and safety coordinator before me had already been gone for about 8 months, so it was a lot of catch up. Plus, I also got hired a month before our FA2 review. So there was a whole lot of reality check real quick. So the program I'm working for is the Tanana Chiefs Conference Head Start, and it's an American Indian and Alaska Native Head Start program that services children within our TCC region, which, believe it or not, covers about 235,000 square miles of interior Alaska. That would be about slightly smaller than the whole state of Texas, in case you're wondering. We currently have 8 home visiting sites and 8 center-based sites throughout that region, and the majority of those are located off the road system, which means, yes, we have to fly into them or take a boat into them to get into those villages, which also is fun. Let's say for the winter, you fly in, and then our lead teacher, will be waiting there on a snow machine to take us into the village. So um, yeah, my time is traveling during the winter usually, so that's nice, 20 below, snow painted, geared out. Yeah, it's great. It's good times.
That's awesome. So, what motivated you to take the health certification?
Again, I would take it, part of it would be the onboarding, a lack of. So you suggested, have the position for, 6 months. I did not have that opportunity. It was like, essentials is not going to be essentially enough for that FA2 review. So I need to get into this. So that would be number one. Number two would be obviously the FA2 review. And then, again, it's been about 25 years since I've done any kind of schooling, and I'm not a big fan of it, even though I've taught for forever. So there was the intimidation factor involved, but it was, if you want to be prepared for the role that you're taking on, and then, like I explained, it's a very large coverage area. I can't just come up with that on the fly. It definitely has to be coming from a source, and this program definitely assisted with that.
Awesome. So, tell me, how did it benefit you personally in your position?
Multiple times, different ways. Number one, it gave me a strong understanding of my role as a health and safety coordinator, and especially on the Head Start performance standards. A big thing for us is I can't travel year round to these sites, and our central office does have to travel out. So we all have to kind of embody each other's roles. I need to have an understanding of the nutrition aspect of it. I need to have understanding of the disabilities aspect, as well as my peers also need to have understanding of the health and safety aspect. So that way we can support our staff in all those things instead of having to come back and go, okay, this is what was asked, this was asked, this was asked, and then now have to reach back out again. We can be on site and be able to provide those services. This actual program gives us that opportunity to get kind of, it almost forces you to have those conversations with your peers, right? Because there is a section specifically disabilities related. That is not my topic. So I get to sit down with my peer and discuss her program and what she does, and then be able to, embody that when I go out there and travel that as well to represent her, even though she may not be able to get there. It also helped me realize that there were a few policies and procedures that we did not have in place. If you're all Head Start employees out there, the lead is the big thing, right? And for us, lead is really big because we have so many various sites out in the villages. So I had to go ahead and do an assessment of all my sites, which was inspired by this program, testing the buildings for paint, testing it for water levels. We're all, it's now got me implemented a program now where we will actually offer to families, if they want to have their water tested, we'll provide the water samples and cover the cost for them. So that way they know what their home situation is with their water supply. Another thing, daily health checks. Which seems like not that big of a deal, but if we lose one staff member, we have to shut down because we don't have advocates on site. We don't have extra staff on site. Our site is our teachers. So it helped me realize, okay, we need to have a little bit more focus on that, which led to another policy and procedure, and a couple more things along those lines.
How would you say this affected your confidence in your new position?
Um, well, gave me a lot, let's be honest, because I came in with zero. Like you said earlier, I sat at a desk and I was like, wow, I should order some pens and paper.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the catch-up emails started coming in of, okay, we need data entry this, data entry that, data, because 8 months is a lot of data that hasn't been entered. And then I'm like, blink, blink, blink. So that's the big thing is that it can be intimidating. You gave a number, 100 plus competencies, but the reality, again, single parent, new place I live, new job, uh, minimal onboarding, and it still can be done, but you have to manage that time.
That kind of leads me what I was going to say. What's your advice to those getting ready to jump in?
Oh, number one, do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. And I am the king of procrastination. And I could tell you it's not worth the sweat. The biggest reason why I would also say is, and you'll find out when you do your onboarding for this program with Miss Jackie, is that later on down the line in your competencies, you're going to have to do 3 trainings outside of this that you're going to need to have documentation of. And if you wait till the last second and then you pop onto that, there's not going to be any webinars available. So you're going to miss out on that one. And that's great that you're going to take a hit. And another one is you're going to have to do an interview with somebody in particular. And if you wait too long, you may not have somebody to interview standing by and ready. So it's imperative that you stay on task and stay focused and do not procrastinate. Another thing would be chalk out those few hours a day to, if not do the competency, at least lay out a plan for it. Read it and see what you have coming up so that way you can prepare to have that. And finally, it's great bonding anyways. Don't be afraid to ask your peers. Most of them have been here, so they've done something related to your job or related to what's going to be in some of these competencies. They're the best source of information. If not, do those office hours. I definitely did not do the office hours because I was buried over here with my dailies. And I know that I definitely missed out on opportunities related to that, but I also did not hesitate to reach out to my peers either. So I felt like that was a fairly decent substitute in that aspect. But if you don't have as many peers available to you, then definitely take a moment and get into those office hours. That way you can ask those who are actually doing this course with you at the same time. So yeah.
Awesome. One last question for you. So what would be your takeaway from this if you had to sum it up in about 2 or 3 sentences?
Well, I had an HSAC that wasn't even my HSAC yesterday. We have 2 local Head Starts out here that actually have their buildings and everything. They're specifically Fairbanks, but I'm a parent, so I jumped in on their HSAC, right? And one of the things I did is they have a new one of them has a new health safety coordinator, and I already promoted it to him. I was like, "Hey, bud, piece of advice: you can reach out to me, but this is probably what you really should do." So obviously, I'm a big proponent of the program, and I will actually be backtracking and doing the essentials after probably a little later on in the year, or if not next year, just as a refresher, see if there's anything in there that might not have been covered as well. So I would absolutely 100%, and this is not a paid promotion, encourage that you go ahead and task on this when you find the time available.
Right. Thank you so much, Alec. I so appreciate that. I know Rachel appreciates it. We're just thrilled that you were able to join us today.
No,
So
thank you.
back to you, Rachel.
Okay, well, we did have
You're muted, Rachel.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks. We thank you everyone for being here today. First off, we appreciate so much your leaning into this certification and willingness to come and learn more about it. There were a few questions in the chat, so I just wanted to address those. If you're looking for details about the certification, I'm dropping in the chat. You can learn more about it on our website. We have a page dedicated to the health service certification. You'll notice a little download the syllabus where you can sign up and we'll send you information so that you can really dive deep into what this certification is about. There was a question about the cost. This, if your program is a NHSA member, then your cost is $11.95. And if your program is a member, you are a member. There's a lot of benefits to you as an NHSA member. So I also would check out all of our member benefits, the newsletters and everything that you can keep on top of as part of NHSA. Shameless plug. Also, if you're like feeling a little bit like Alex said, it is a lot, but that health services or the health essentials course is a really great place to start and get your feet wet if you are brand new. So we'll drop the link for that course in the chat as well, in case you're looking for like, I just really need someone to explain all these acronyms to me. This is a great place to start is with this course here. Um, you are always welcome to reach out to myself. Jackie is very responsive. I bet you could even shoot an email to Alex and he would answer any questions that you have about this process. Seems like you'd get a pretty honest response on anything that you might want to know. Uh, Jackie, last question is about start dates for the certification. We did say that it is a 4-month runway once you start, and we start, is it every month? Is this one goes every
We
month?
start every month with a new cohort. If I was somebody taking this certification, I personally would January would be the month I sign up, because you don't have your first 45 and 90 days. Those are done with. And you don't have your wrapping it up towards the end of the year going into summer. So that January to April is a very great position to be in for this course.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say too. I know we're depending on if you're watching this recording, all of this is going to be legitimate, but we are in November right now, and I don't know if I'd tell anybody to start a certification in December. I mean, if you're into it, if you're going to work real hard, absolutely you can, but January seems like a real good month to get going. We had another question come in for you, Jackie, in the chat. I'm an FSM. Would this certification be good for me?
We all have different acronyms. I'm gonna assume this is a family worker, FSM.
Melissa, if you want to come off mute and tell us whether that's true or not, you're welcome to.
Food
Food
service
service
manager.
manager. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
actually it would, because we do go into things like if a child has an allergy, and we go into how you work with licensing in food service and how you meet the USDA guidelines. A lot of things would have actually applied to somebody working in food service or nutrition.
Mhm. Okay. Well, we are down to our last couple of minutes. We've hit all the questions that I had. So if you found value in this webinar, please be aware that we have tons of webinars that we do here at NHSA. You can see the full list of webinars on our NHSA event calendar. We'll drop that link in the chat for you as well if you'd like to just continue exploring what we have available for you. If you'd like to learn more from Jackie specifically, you can join us in New Orleans in December. Our Parent and Family Engagement Conference is the first week of December, and we still have some room available. That's a very popular option, especially for all of our wonderful staff working in support services like health and family and food. And we would just love to see you there. Definitely stop by the Academy booth in the exhibit hall and say hi to the Academy team as well. Final question I saw in the chat. Do you have to take the essentials and the certification?
You do not have to take essentials before the certification. If you have been in your position for over 6 months, go ahead and go straight to the certification if you like. The health essentials gives a lot of your basics, but then it also gives you ideas too, because there's a section on ethics and staff wellness. So there's some extras in there too, but you do not need to take essentials first. but I highly recommend Essentials for a nice big 360 view.
Absolutely. So when in doubt, do essentials first. I
And
think is the
Essentials is the one I would totally recommend to any of your family workers that are doing health screenings. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you especially to Jackie and Alec for this fantastic overview of the certification. Again, my name is Rachel Hutchison. Any questions after today, do feel free to reach out to me, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for all you do for Head Start. We appreciate you.
Thank you.